All right, this morning for subscriber-only content, we're going to learn how to skip every n number of lines in PowerShell. Since we've covered how to import data through PowerShell, and we've covered how to get the last line of a file, we've covered some of the advantages it holds over SSIS and ETL tools, it is useful to learn how to skip every n number of lines because occasionally we have files in which we want to skip certain lines, like we may skip every 1,000 lines or we may skip every 25 lines. And so this is a useful skill to have just in case you run across it. And this is actually something that we get every now and then from time to time. Okay, so let's look at this because we've covered this in previous videos, but don't worry about going to the previous video previous videos because, as you know, we've gotten the contents of the file. If we were to, at this point, type F, it would produce everything, right? We know that. This right here, L, we've declared the object L. It is the length of F. So, just as a case in point, let's just go ahead and do this. Let's see what F is, and then let's see what L is. And note that X is 1, so we kind of already know what that is. So it produces the whole file, and L is 649. That's how many lines are in the file. Okay, so what we want to do in this example, we're going to skip every 5 lines. So we're going to return every 5 lines, starting at 1. So we want to return 1, 6, 11, etc., etc. And so what we want to do is while X is less than, I almost did the old less than, not the old, but the T-SQL and C# less than. While X is less than the length, so here's our logic, what we want to do is we want to produce what F is. And so again, we've covered this, but just in case you don't remember, we're going to do F and we're going to put X. This kind of looks like we learned in high school, F of X, but it's actually F, the array F, and X. This is the position. So as a case in point, let's go up here to the very top, and you'll see date and rate would be, of course, not user-friendly there, would be 0. This would be 1. This 1959-02-0177 would be 2, right? So what we're looking at, so the first time the loop is around, because we know that X is less than L, L is 649, X currently is 1, the first loop around, it's going to grab the first line, which in this case, it's going to be 1959-0101 8.3. Okay, and then the next loop around, it's going to grab, and this is what we're going to set here, and I'll do it out just to show everyone. X is going to equal X plus 5. So the next loop around, it's going to be the 6th value. All right, and so we're going to produce this right here, F, looking at the position X. All right. And if we scroll all the way to the top, hold on, you will see, of course, 1959, 01, 01, 8.3. We can also check the values, and because since we're using date, it makes sense. Like, for instance, in 2012, we were looking at May, and now we have 2012, October. And let's see, 2011, we have July. 5 months later would, of course, be December. So that is correct. And this is very useful because, as a case in point, let's suppose you're encrypting data. Really quick story. You can muddy your data by putting, let's say, 95% of your data is bad data and only 5% are good. And so the person that's importing the data know what the good data are and skips the bad data. And I've seen actually companies, especially energy companies, do this a lot, where the good data are basically in the file. Now, of course, in energy company situation, they have probably about 1 billion lines in the file, and 1 out of those billion are legit. So someone, stealing data and thinking they have something, what they really have is a lot of dirt and mud, and they have to dig through that haystack to find a needle. And so that's a very difficult thing to do if you have enough data. So this is just a very simple example of how you can just skip every other line. And then, of course, we can do the flat file loop where if we know it's going to be multiple files, we're going to loop it in and we're going to take this value and insert it into the database.